Fucking cool.
What's going on, Devin?
Kenny, what is your favorite team member off the A team?
Man.
Is it Hannibal? Is it Face? B.A. Baracus? Or is it Murdoch?
I think I always dig the van. And so B.A. Baracus and how he just tore things up and didn't care. And he was always fired up.
Okay.
He was fun to watch.
All right. So B.A. Baracus was your guy.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
How about you?
Face Man. He was awesome. I think Face Man was
the ladies' man.
He was the ladies' man, but I also say Murdoch. I mean, you can't discount Murdoch. He's pretty rowdy. All right, what are we talking about today, Kenny?
We're gonna talk a little bit about the engine in this blue truck that we have going on here.
Okay.
So what do we got? Let's give people. I don't know if we've actually talked about this small block.
We've told them about this engine.
Small block 4. Oh, we probably have. So it's a little rowdier than the original 302 that was in here.
Yeah, this thing we had called our engine builder at Westside Machine and talked to Ryan and said, hey, Lisa's little blue truck, we're going to put it under the knife. We're looking for it to be fun for her to drive. So he's like, hey, let's make it, give it like 500 horse. Here's what we want to do to make that. So it's not stroked out or anything. It's still a 351, and it's got AFR heads on it, obviously headers. It's got a different fuel management system, a Holley Sniper kit. And then we went away from the little Mazda manual trans in it, and we put an E4OD in it. Matt put together a pretty spicy E4OD for this, and we're using a standalone controller for that as well to Holley as well. So we had a bunch of wiring to do and wanted to clean everything up and get everything where it needed to be. I think it made like 505 on the dyno or something like that. So it actually, it's going to be a fun little truck to drive. So,
yeah.
So Kenny wanted to show you people how we're running our wiring and what we're doing differently.
Well, I wanted to show people stuff that they're not probably going to see once this thing's finished because it's going to be hidden, and it's already hidden enough. So what I'm going to show you guys is this block right here. So this is the passenger side of the truck. Most people run their wiring on the driver's side when it comes to custom wiring stuff because of the fuse blocks over there, I think, and the batteries over, or actually the battery's over here. But anyway.
What I started realizing, because we were going to do the same thing, the ECM is no longer in the truck, so you can use that whole cavity for running all your wires through it. I'm a big fan of cleaning things up and getting things hidden so you can't see them, but also making sure that they don't melt when you hide them or they're not going to work. That's why the Cowboy Truck 7.3 engine looks so clean, is because we moved everything out of the valley. We've hidden a lot of stuff, cleaned it up. We want to do the same thing with this, and in doing so, all the wiring for the Holley is all tucked away behind the engine, and then we're talking about running the wires and how to clean them up, and I kind of mocked them up to the passenger side, and I just thought, man,
you mean the driver's side?
The driver's side, and I was like, man, it's going to be so busy over there. We have the Hydro Boost on there, and we have a lot of other stuff that I want to make. I just want to make the firewall really clean. So,
there's like moving parts and stuff over there, a steering shaft, and
yeah, you got a lot of stuff over there, and to make it look like it, it just was tough. So I'm like, we started looking, and actually there's a ton of real estate under the heater box on our OBS Fords. You just don't know it because the inner fender's in there and it covers it all up. It's hard to see.
Is that hole that you made?
Yeah.
You made that hole.
We punched that hole through.
Now this isn't a rubber boot.
No, it's an aluminum 2-piece, I would say like a pass-through is the best way to call it.
Yeah, it's the harnesses are going through it. They're not, there's not a plug or like pins. And
what's cool about this is this product though, it's 2-piece, so the hole diameter is like pretty good size, and so you can pull it out and it comes apart in 2 pieces, so your connectors can all go through without depinning them. Depinning them being popping the connector apart and taking each individual pin out to run through there, as opposed to cutting the wires and resoldering them. That guy lets you run the big, the head of that connectors through there without having to do any of that.
Well, let's run inside and look at the controller.
Yes, I will get you a light, Kenny, so you can see.
Yeah, give me the light. You go to the driver's side, Devin.
Did you want this light?
I'm gonna sneak around. Yeah, there we go. Hi, Seth.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
Good. We gave you a break from the video stuff tonight.
Yeah, it's weird. I really don't know what to do with my hands.
Okay, Ricky Bobby. Just waiting on Devin.
Yeah, well.
Okay, so the other thing we want to do is with this lovely little pickup, like I said, clean everything up. I didn't want to run any of the fuel management controller or the TCM for the transmission outside on the firewall or on the core support. Yes.
So this is the transmission controller
Yep.
from Holley, MSD Atomic, I believe it's called. So I think
Yes.
that's like a standard controller that
Yep.
they sell for all of them, and then you get a harness.
You buy an E4OD harness
the
depending on
E4OD.
if it's what year it is.
And then back here, this black box, that's the Holley box to run
Yes.
the Sniper fuel injection.
What's funny though is the Holley system, with the ECM part of it, like your computer, is actually in the throttle body itself.
They're really
Yeah, so that's technically just a spark control, but it's massive. It takes up a lot of real estate.
no kidding.
So our big goal was
Still way less wiring though than
the Derpy E system,
the factory stuff.
or even a mass air system.
Yeah.
But the one thing we want to do is we want to have everything inside the cab. I don't want anything outside in the firewall or in the engine bay. So all we're going to do is run a power and a ground from our battery junction box through. No wires outside this thing. Everything will run inside to our actual brake or our bulkhead connector. So then for fuel pump, power for our fuel pump will run to the factory harness, and then we'll strip the other side of the factory harness and get rid of everything we don't need, and just keep our coolant temp, oil pressure for our gauges, and RPM obviously for our gauge.
So anybody driving this truck after it's put together isn't even going to know this stuff is in here, because the gauges and dash and ignition
Right.
and all the controls in the truck are going to be just like they were before.
Right, we've always said like we want everything to function as it would if you hopped in it. The Cowboy truck, everything functions. Even the Princess truck with the Cummins in it, the Bronco, everything you hop in it and it works like it should. There's no like, oh, you have to hit this switch or you have to do something different. So this is a little bit different in ways. But
Let's trade sides here and show the last little piece of the puzzle. I'm going to walk around, show everybody.
that was a laugh you tripped on that.
I am not going to trip on that. Oh, I'm going to climb up here. There's that beautiful Willwood Hydro Boost. I can actually see it, Devin.
Okay.
Just leave that light over there. So this is what we're going to talk about. Devin's going to tell you about this little wire
you wanna talk
here.
about that?
Yeah.
Just like I say, we want to make sure everything. This is a the Holley full system, so it comes with the distributor, it comes with the coil, and all the bells and whistles. And when I kind of mocked everything up. I'm like, where in the hell am I going to put this coil? The coil's massive, and it's going to look pretty derpy on the firewall or on the fender. I want to keep it off of there. So Will, our GM, who comes from a race car background, rowdy ground, he's like, hey, why don't you put the coil inside the cab? And I'm like, why in the hell would I put the coil inside the cab? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And then he's like, no, dude, a lot of people like in the race car world and stuff like that do that. I'm like, shit, I didn't know that. So we're always learning something new every day. So we put the coil on the inside of the cab. What we did is we built they make a pass-through, and it's just basically a spark plug on both ends, like mimics that. And we built a plate on the inside and a plate on the outside, and the pass-through bolts on the inside. And this was where our master cylinder was for the clutch hydraulics. So we didn't have to drill an extra hole or anything. These are factory holes, all this, and we just made it so it's a nice clean pass-through. The coil's on the inside. We can go on the inside and show you.
Yeah, let's go look at it. You were going to laugh if I fell, weren't you?
Yeah, both times actually.
And then, so the coil just we TIG weld a bracket onto the brake pedal assembly. And that way the coil
This big old box, and it's got the short wire that goes from the pass-through onto
which is
the
kind of
coil.
cool, because if you think about it, if you were going to park this thing someplace, you gave a shit, like kind of like we're worried about someone stealing it, you just pull the coil wire off.
Just pull it off, reach under there.
Or, hey, better yet, you hook it to the seat and shock the shit out of them.
Here's your factory pedal for that Hydro Boost setup we talked about.
Yeah.
And then all this fun stuff. Now, you said there's something else we're going to have to add, because unfortunately in the Ford application, that engine and transmission controller don't really talk to each other, right?
No. So we were hoping that we've dealt with the Holley systems before on several of their platforms, but never the standalone transmission controller. And so the transmission controller has a couple inputs it needs. One was throttle position sensor, or a throttle position. So we're like, okay, we can just grab the signal off the Holley, because it's running a TPS off the Holley as well. And so, but after talking to Holley, you can't do that. It'll mess up the data. So we're gonna have to put throttle position sensor on the gas pedal.
On the
itself.
throttle pedal somewhere.
Yeah, because we didn't want to put any. I don't want to put any other linkage. If you look at the throttle body, we used a Ford factory throttle cable because it already has a return spring in it, and then we built our own bracket for it to be held on, and then we shortened it up. That way, if you look at like I didn't want 3 or 4 lines going to the throttle body to make it look like a carburetor. So that's why the factory gas pedal is still, throttle cable is still on this rig. Is that it looks the cleanest to me. So I didn't want to add another cable for a different throttle position sensor. They sell one, so we're gonna make it fit that guy on the gas pedal. So anyway, we'll figure that out next.
Well,
probably after the dash is in.
A few more steps closer to hearing this thing run.
Oh yeah, like a week it's gonna run.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow.
We'll see.
All right, thanks, Devin.
You're welcome, Kenny.